We're actually gonna answer this question. Let's do that.
All right.
Let's do that on this vid, and then we'll do the reactions after that. Phil, do you know where the piggy socks come from?
I was just looking at that. What is that?
No, like, do you know what the pig, when people call cops pigs, do you know where that comes from?
The term, no.
I was wondering. Someone mentioned it. If my memory serves me correctly, it's for dirty cops.
That makes sense.
This one is saying, which the creation and use of particular slangs via area is kind of important. Cause like where I'm from, we never called the police. We called them the laws. That's what we just called them. Like that's what we call them. Oh shit, it's the law. You know what I'm saying? Because they are law enforcement, so we call them the law. This one is saying that pigs started in the 1960s, referring to law enforcement as pigs because by the Vietnam protesters in 1965. Now, a pig is a primary instructed gunman.
Oh.
Okay? And that's what they were called in the Marine Corps. Like, you're a pig. You're a primary instructed gunman. Basically, you're just told to shoot. You know what I'm saying?
We point, you shoot.
We point, you shoot. So the civilians start calling cops pigs. Those they did start calling them pigs because of the Vietnam War and them protesting the Vietnam War. Now, my understanding of pigs, where it came from, when I was told, because I asked the cop when I used to work in a grocery store, we had state troopers that worked security. And I asked him, and I said, why do they call, actually, I asked about cops first, and he said what he was told was something about the badges being made of copper back in the day. So they would just call them cops, short for copper. And I asked about pigs, and he said the derogatory term for pigs was during a time when law enforcement was very, very corrupt. So they would call dirty cops pigs, basically filthy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a dirty police officer, you're a pig, is what they would call them. So when you see a person calling someone a cop a pig or whatever, they're just using a derogatory term towards law enforcement, that officer, if they believe they're being wronged by that officer. Like, you're a pig, you know what I mean? Like, you're a pig. So when I saw the socks Colin Kaepernick wore during that time, and I took it as that, like, socks meaning, because he had pigs on my feet or whatever, it meaning dirty cops underneath my feet, not like all cops. See, a lot of people want to take terms and use them for everybody, which we know how that goes and how you shouldn't do that. Like, when I think of a cop, if a cop is doing his job, doing it right, you know what I'm saying, stuff like that, I'm not going to call him a pig or, you know, anything like negative. He's doing what he's supposed to do. If you got a cop over here planting drugs, planting guns, all that type of stuff, then that term should be used for that police officer. If you are taking that term and you just think it's in general to degrade all police, that's not what it's for. This is the one we need to answer right here. From Mr. Goodrich. Mr. Goodrich, this is for you. So what everyone doesn't quite understand what the problem is with Colin Kaepernick and the protests. The problem is the commercial he is turning his back on our flag is creating division and is causing people to turn their back against the country. And all of us, yes, you too, as far as us as a people, we need to recognize that we are all individuals, and our government and that's officers and that's officials need to recognize us as such. Otherwise, there is where you create special privilege. Not to say that there isn't a racial treatment shown towards one race, and yes, it leans more to be. It might be leaning on one side. How do you expect to correct it? Implement racist policies. Okay.
Yeah.
I almost thought they said police. I was like, why we want racist police?
Why not? They're already there.
Policies or hire a biased group to monitor it. Do you understand where racism stems from? We are all somewhat affected by it because it's based on fear. Mm-hmm. True? Which is logically, how do you suppose we regulate fear? It can't be done without oppression, which is where this leads to. So, if you don't understand, that is pretty much an act of war against the country and the Constitution. What keeps us all free? Think about it. That's the one that he wanted us to answer, which is, how do you regulate fear? You can and you can't regulate fear, actually. I've done a lot of talks about fear-mongering and how it's used to control people. First off, we need to realize what fear-mongering is, and we need to put a stop to fear-mongering. Once you begin to put a stop to fear-mongering, that's when fear itself begins to subside. The whole reason for the use of fear and the use of destroying the mind is because once man figured out that if you disable the mind, you disable the body, because the body follows the mind. Yep. So psychological warfare was invented because it's so much more effective, and you can disable a person or people without damaging the people, physically damaging them.
And that way you can redirect them to do what you want them to do.
You can redirect those people who are undamaged. Instead of going in, cutting hands off, arms off, all that type of stuff. Like, this is old stuff. Instead of doing that, to where now you want someone who needs to do work or be a slave, and he only got one hand, you know what I'm saying, to do it, yeah. You destroy this. Because what's up here makes all this work.
You destroy it and then rebuild it to your liking.
There you go. So, the regulation of fear, first we need to call out those who use fear and fear-mongering, period.
As a means of control.
As a means of control. We need to do that. That's how you first start. It's not going to be a fast process, but eventually, kids who are growing up not knowing what fear-mongering is and stuff like that, they will be able to make better, unbiased decisions towards things.
Or the ones that don't succumb to it. Because I don't know if it's actually pretty relevant. I watched Moana again. Like, I don't even remember a lot of stuff that happened the first time I seen it. Maybe my nephews was over and we was beating each other up, but I watched it, like, sat down by myself, and that was the whole thing of that movie. Like, nobody leaves the reef. Nobody leaves the island. Nobody goes past the reef. Nobody jumps in boats, nothing like that. And then 20 minutes into the movie, Grandma shows Moana that their whole island were sailors and explorers. And come to find out, they had one bad experience, and then all of a sudden it was, we can't go out there anymore. It's, oh my God. What? And the thing about it was that all the stuff that was out there, all the danger that was out there has always been there. It was just, it affected them. And it really, even in the kids movie, like, that made it so apparent, because that's what people do. Like, oh, this is how it's always been. Oh, it's only been like that for a little bit. And because that's all, you bring somebody up in, that's all they know. Mm-hmm. And then they can continue that vicious cycle and perpetuate it to make it seem like it's always been like that. But even Grandma was like, I love the ocean. The ocean is life. It gives us the fish, it gives us this, it gives us that, you know what I'm saying? And, like, everybody made it seem like, oh, the ocean is evil, oh, it's bad, and this and that. Well, yeah, some stuff happened out there, but that's life. That's gonna happen. But what about all the good? You went past the reef, you started finding more stuff. Like, because your whole island, your culture, your whole like race of people was explorers. The fact that you stopped doing that, you stopped growing.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing you could rely on was coconuts and the dying fish. And the coconuts was dying too at that point, so she was like, okay, we got to make something happen because it's not working. But she was the one that was, even despite her parents, oh, don't do it, don't do it. She's like, you know what? I want to do it. I've always wanted to do it, but now that you're saying not to do it, I want to do it more. You know, when you get somebody like that that sees the fear, and it's like, oh, what are you really afraid of? Because everything that you haven't done before, everything that has a risk, is gonna come with some apprehension, or the butterflies, or the nervousness. You can turn that nervousness into fear, or you can turn that nervousness into excitement. That's fight or flight. Like, everything has that. So why would you automatically turn it into fear when you haven't even tried? You know, or the other side of that is when you haven't given it its proper chance.
I personally think that it's a generational thing, generational gap. A lot of people have only known the police. They're supposed to be here. That's what they're supposed to be for. You don't care where they came from. You don't know. You know what I'm saying? They're just here.
That's how it's been. That's how.
So whatever you're told about them, then that's what you instantly believe about the police. Mm-hmm. So when you get into the history of the police, you begin to see these things like them busting into someone else's house and shooting them and killing them. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I mistaked it for my apartment type of ordeal.
And busting into somebody else's house, shooting and killing them, and then it being okay. What we have done is real quick, this might be some bull. It actually is. What was it, just yesterday? They said the dude that she killed, they found like an ounce of weed in his brother's pants pocket somewhere in the house. I'm like, well, first of all, you can't just, search people's house, especially after you killed them. Second of all, an ounce or however a little baggie of weed is not means to kill anybody or their brother or anybody in the house.
It's a demonizing tactic because the police.
He had weed.
The police need to protect.
Oh, good. That means he's evil.
Themselves and protect their image.
He's a crime lord.
Yeah. What? We'll discuss that in a second.
Yeah.
I want to stay on this though because I want this person to understand.
I'll be back.
Fear itself is because it's taught to you. Most people feared going too far off into the ocean. Some of the older maps that you can go find and look up only went out so far, and then they would put a dragon or something in the middle of it. Like you wouldn't even know what's out there. You see what I'm saying? So these things, fear itself it's taught to you. Okay? The fact that you say, how do you regulate fear? The fact is the government's already regulating it and using it on you, have been using it for generations.
Kirk, I was about to say something. Oh, yeah. The reason why it sticks when the fear is taught is because it's taught to you by people you trust. Your parents. Oh, don't go to the north side. Don't go to Johnson Park at night. Don't do this during this time. If you see this kind of person in this area, they're probably doing this. If you see, a minority in Walmart, they probably steal. Like, there's stuff that's taught to you by people that you're supposed to trust, and because they're giving you, either feeding you what they know to be lies or false information that somebody else knew to be lies that fed it to them, and they're just regurgitating it. That's all it is. And it's adding to it because it's from somebody you trust. You're gonna take it and you're gonna latch on to it because, as far as you're concerned, oh well, you haven't steered me wrong yet, or you haven't steered me wrong for the most part. So why would you be lying about this unless you see for yourself that everything they say, as far as whatever they're teaching you to be afraid of or steer clear of or be against because of fear, unless you see the opposite of that, then you're gonna go with it.
The craziest thing is people are afraid of spiders and wouldn't be able to identify one, whether it would be poisonous or non-poisonous. Like, the moment someone sees a spider, they instantly become a spider expert. That's poisonous. That's dangerous. That's this. The only reason why you even fear it is, one, you were taught to fear spiders, mainly because you probably seen your mom running from them, scared when you were little.
Oh yeah, perfect example.
I have all boys. Okay? They will run from any insect that is in the house that they don't know to be, and even some of them they do know still be nice. They're still cautious of it because they see their mom run from every single insect that is in the house. My fourth son, who is a baby, he goes up to crickets or whatever's on the floor and he slaps them. He slaps them across the floor and he plays with them because he doesn't have that understanding of fear that thing or be afraid of that thing. He goes up to it, dead bug, live bug, and he'll just hit it across the floor and he'll crawl over to it and he'll hit it again because he doesn't care. It's not built into him. Give him 2 more years of him seeing his mom do that, he's going to start doing the same thing. We're not born racist, we're taught to be racist. Now, how do we fix it? We stop all fear mongering. Whether your government's doing it, whether a business is doing it, whether a branch of the military is doing it, whether the media is doing it, you kill all fear mongering, and as time goes on, you begin to get unbiased generations.
To do one better, you would have to kill the receptiveness to it, because the government ain't just gonna be like, it's the moment somebody calls them out, they ain't gonna be like, oh, you got me, I'm gonna stop. They gonna be like, huh, okay, that's cool. So one person's onto us. If you keep going, you just disappear, or they try to like discredit you, but they'll continue. What you do is the same way racism is taught, fear is taught. You have to teach the people themselves to not be receptive to it. You got to teach the people themselves to be able to see through BS, to be able to look through the lies. You know, if somebody walked up to you, if there was a line of people, 100 people, they walked up to you, 2 + 2 is 5, 2 + 2 is 8, you would know it's wrong because you know. If you walked up to a kid and said that, they would be confused. Why is 2 + 2 100 different things? I don't know, but let me go ask my parents. Let me go ask somebody that I at least trust their word or their opinion. And if the parents tell you 2 + 2 is 5, you're just gonna go with it, and then you'll be the foster teacher when you got to school. 2 + 2 is 5. My mama said, be like Bobby Boucher. My mama said, yeah. When you teach somebody to be able to defend against fear tactics, to defend against being fed lies, spoon-fed, just here you go, lie after lie after lie, then it's a lot easier to be able to say, or I'm sorry, for somebody to be able to see a bigger lie, or for somebody to be able to do that on their own or in a bigger, on a bigger scale, because as it stands, because everybody has the herd mentality, it's, even if I don't feel 100% about this situation or this decision that everybody's making, if everybody's doing it, it must be okay. If there was a video, real quick, where there was a person in a room full of chairs by itself, smoke comes into the door, they jump out and they run to the other door. Same person, or same room, different person, room full of people. Smoke comes to the door, everybody else is active but one person. They look around first. Look at the smoke, look at the people, look at every single person in the room.
To see.
And smoke is coming, still, same smoke. It's fake, but it looks like a fire.
Mm-hmm.
Other door, fine. They look at the door, look at the smoke, look at the people, and they're like, huh, okay. Herd mentality. If there really was a fire, everybody be dead.
Yep.
Everybody.
They done that before with another video where they had everybody on a buzzer stand up, and they were changing the people in the room. So basically, they would bring a new person in, and the buzzer would hit, and people would stand up, and then they'll sit back down, and they would do it so often, and then the person who's new to the room would look around, and everybody's standing up. They wouldn't do it the first couple times, you know what I'm saying? They would stand up, they would sit and look around everybody, and then when the buzzer hit, they would stand up too, and sit back down, and then they would move from people out and move new ones in. And continue.
Oh, wow.
And continue the same thing. It's just an experiment. It's continue the same exact thing. No one likes being left out. No one likes being an outsider. Now, as far as turning your back on the nation, you need to, with the whole turning your back on the flag and all this other type of stuff, you need to understand that if the flag is a representation of the country, then the country has turned its back on those people who are not being represented correctly. So it's a vice versa understanding. It's an opposite.
Of how
if that's how you see what he is doing and causing other people to do so, what you're misunderstanding is that's a broken promise within this country. This country will then turn its back on those people. So it's not about whether he's causing people to turn their back. The country's already done it by allowing these things to happen.
And then real quick, even in this the fact that this is even a topic, and everybody's boycotting Nike, everybody's like trying to do away with anything that he has anything to do with. The country itself, the people, the country itself already turned its back on him and other people like him, minorities, by letting it happen and continuing to let it happen. Now the people that make up the country have officially turned their back on him because of the fact that he has acknowledged, pointed the finger, and exposed the country itself, the country as an idea, the country as a government, that they're letting this happen. So not only is the flag turned its back on him, but now the people that represent that flag represents has turned their back on him because he has exposed the flag for what it is. I mean, even as a country, the fact that he's kneeling for the national anthem, everybody's upset about that. But like anytime people bring up the third stanza, everybody get quiet.
Think about it, man. I mean, just think about it. Do you really think people with slave owner last names give a damn about a poem written by a slave owner who didn't even like, who rejoiced at the fact of dying slaves?
And then to make matters worse, it wasn't even the national anthem until like 100 years after he wrote it.
Exactly.
Like, it didn't even matter when he wrote it. It was just like, basically it was, hey, we won, suck it, England. Oh yeah, and all the slaves that tried to like, you know, get free, y'all suck it too. You know, like, I'm glad you died. That's basically what it said. The national anthem is suck it, England, and to all y'all slaves that wanted freedom, I'm glad you died or got hurt. And he's not standing for that. Literally, he's not standing for that, and y'all getting mad. You're getting mad.
Then you said, I just want to point out that you begging for the government to recognize minority status and to treat them with special privilege, which is racist as
hell.
Racist as all hell. We're not asking the government to recognize us and give us special privilege. We're asking the government to recognize us as equals to others in this government. So by you saying that, you've already recognized that you have a special privilege over us.
Real quick, even with that, that's already happening, but it's not minorities. So if having minorities have special privileges is racist as all hell, then anybody who has special privileges in this country is racist as all hell. You have just acknowledged the double standard. It's a man can have his shirt off, but a female with her shirt off is a hoe. Majorities can have special privileges, but minorities having special privileges is racist as all hell. I'm glad that you're aware of what's going on, but you're on the wrong side. I'm sorry.
Your ideology.
Your understanding is there, but it's not even for us to have special privileges. It's for us to have the same privilege. There shouldn't be any special privileges because what you're saying right now is the opposite's already happening. So for us to get more privilege than we have, if that's considered special privileges, more privileges than what we have is equal to what the majority has. So if the majority has special privileges, which you've already said is racist as all hell, then either you take away their privileges and give us the same privileges that we have, or you raise our privileges and give us the same that they have. Because
you just defeated
your own argument. Your own argument.
With
that one line.
With that one line.
That one line.
You
killed
defeated
that whole
You defeated your entire point that you just made.
That's like half a page if that was font 12.
You understand where fear comes from, but you're sitting here saying that. No, whatever.
It's cool. I like stuff like this because at least they're coming from a place of intelligence.
Right.
Now, their views are misguided, slightly skewed, but it's instead of saying, "Oh, you dumb, you monkey," he's actually saying stuff that at least makes sense to him.
At least he knows where the racism comes
Yeah.
from, where it stems from.
Oh, yeah.
It stems from fear.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, he understands the fact that it stems from fear. The problem is you believe that someone's causing people to turn their back on the country when the country's already turned their back on the people.
Yeah.
So you've already let us be known that you're blind to that factor.
Mm-hmm.
Then you already let us know that it does lean to one side. So you already have acknowledged that you have a privilege as a person. But then you're saying that if you create a racist group of racist policies or hire a biased group to monitor it, that it won't do anything. Like it won't make it. You don't have
But there's
to do
already
anything.
a biased group that is monitoring it. That's the
what I'm saying.
reason
Yeah.
why
There's
the minorities don't have the privilege.
It's already a group here.
And they're in power.
You're trying to say
Authority.
that group doesn't exist when it already exists.
No. What you're trying to say is that we shouldn't get a group that puts us above other
Or equal.
people.
Yeah, we shouldn't have a group.
But it's
that
not
even
above.
brings
It
us
would be equal. If we got more, it would be just equal. There's no above. That's
basically saying we still need to be here. We still need to be here
Because the majority.
Because this group of people aren't doing anything wrong.
By definition,
By
the majority.
You're saying they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
They're not a special group of people, and they don't have a biased group already doing the monitoring. That's what you're saying. But then you turn right back around. Never mind. You defeat yourself.
That's what you call touche. Objection. Overruled. You object to yourself.
That's what you call kill shot.
Yeah. Kill shot. Kill shot ricochet.
That's what you call kill shot.
So, are we still talking about this?
No, I'm done. I mean, there's no reason for us to even talk about that no more. Okay. Someone defeated themselves in the comment section. Well, no, they defeated their own. They acknowledged their privilege and then defeated, saying that we shouldn't have it.
Defeated their argument.
Defeated their argument by saying we should not have equal or the same thing.
No.
When that
Actually, you know what makes it so bad? If you go deeper, they say that there should not be a group.
Mm-hmm.
To get there should not be special privileges for a specific people.
You know what?
Let's break this all the way down. You said there should not be a group to either monitor or to dictate and determine whether a specific group of people get special privileges. You've said that. You also said that there should not be a group of people, or I'm sorry, that one specific race should not get special privileges. You have said that. Now, when you take that on a broader spectrum, even though it was directed towards minorities, you just flip it around because right now you're talking at a mirror and you just 8-miled yourself.
Why is everybody 8-miling themselves here?
I don't know. This is the year of 8 Mile.
Why is everyone 8-miling
When did 8 Mile
themselves?
come out? Is it 10-year anniversary or something?
It has to be.
know.
Like, we have to be repeating history right now because
this is
Kill Shot was an 8-mile, and this entire comment from Mr. Goodrich here is an 8-mile. You 8-miled yourself, bro. Like, I get it.
It was put together
Yeah, it was put together very nicely. I'm
Yeah.
be real with you.
You were still respectful. I appreciate that because some people get behind keyboards and act a fool or get ignorant. But just your overall direction, views skewed, and you're slightly misguided. But everything you said was on point. It just needs to be redirected to the other side. Turn it around, because the thing about it was, just like Michael Jackson said, look at the man in the mirror.
All right, so my homeboy Albert, he said, I believe a black man has a better chance of getting struck by lightning than shot by the cops. We would have to really use some statistics for that, because you may be a little off there. As you can see, I haven't seen too many lightning strike videos of black people, because we don't really play in the rain like that. To be honest with you. Well, he does, but I was taught never play in the rain like that. But we do have a story of a cop busting into a man's house and shoot. Actually, I'm sorry. We do have an off-duty officer busting into a man's house and shooting him.
With the service weapon.
I think we would
with the service weapon. By the way,
we would have to get statistics there, Albert, because you may be a little off on that
one.
In
fact, just
and
real
I'm
quick,
really, I don't know.
I'm just going off of this week. That's 1-0 for Lightning. Lightning has none right now. I guess it's 0-1 for Lightning. 1-0 for Cop. Just this week.
Now, what you're saying here about a black guy who makes more in one game than most people do make in a decade, protesting the flag, they hear his intent and find it wrong. Honestly, I completely understand that point of view, but what those people who try to use that point of view don't realize, if getting in the NFL and being a quarterback or being whatever position that a person who is making money like that is doing, everyone would do it.
Okay, yeah.
Everyone would want to be a millionaire.
Again, his position was earned. You have a better chance of getting struck by lightning than you do making it in the NFL.
Than you do getting in the NFL. I agree with
that. There's
I agree with that.
7 billion people and only like 50-something teams.
I agree. Now we're talking about a much
now
more
it's
close.
Yeah. Now how many people have dreams of going to the NFL and don't make it?
What?
Don't go past high school.
What is J. Cole's song? Like, every boy want to be Pippin, but they only got 12 slots on the Pistons.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, now we're talking there. But I do understand that. But what people don't realize is, if it was so easy to do and obtain,
everybody would do it.
Everyone would do it.
Secondly, not only would everybody do it, but it would have been being done. It would have always been the case if it was that easy.
Secondly, those people who are not making that money in that decade, they don't realize that they're paying for the entertainment that they are watching, which is football.
Same with movie stars.
Same with movie stars. Same with rap artists. You're paying for the entertainment. So if you have one person playing a role, no, two, because let's say you got a main quarterback and a backup quarterback, right? Mm-hmm. You got that two. Versus, to be safe, let's say 250 million people paying for entertainment. So it's 2 versus 250 million. So that's why they make so much more. You see what I'm saying?
That, and due to the rarity, because somehow people only understand rarity when it comes to things. And really when it comes down to those things that people treasure with rarity aren't really that rare anyway, unless you're talking about somebody's art, which even then they can make more. But due to the rarity of being able to get in the NFL and play, you're gonna get paid for it. It's the same as saying if being a doctor was easy, then everybody would do it. That's why they make so much, because it ain't easy. Two, you do a heck of a lot of study, years. You give a good decade and a half of your life to do something that literally 1 in a million can do. How many hospitals in your city versus how many people?
Exactly. And how many doctors?
How many
versus,
specialists?
How many doctors? How many specialists?
Not physicians, not nurses. How many specialists?
But
surgeons.
Again, I get it, because I am a working person who doesn't make a whole bunch of money either. And you be like, dang, I wish I would have went to the NBA, blah, 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 yada, yada. But then again, it doesn't matter. It takes one injury, and then you just a normal person like everybody else.
And you're done. You want fries with that?
With
If you don't have any skills,
with a gap of
Yeah.
of skills right there.
Okay, so your work history says you had a job at 15, and
What they
now you're
should
35.
do is do a documentary on how many people try out, don't make it, and follow lives
Millions.
after all that, so people can begin to understand why people are picked, or why people get to be
And the
in those
thing
positions.
is, dude, you should actually, if you're gonna go there, follow follow somebody who did make it from the moment they started, which generally is like from walking elementary, unless they was like a prodigy and picked it up in high school and just took it and ran with it. Generally, they started at such a young age that they didn't do anything else, and even some of those don't make it.
All right.
Versus somebody who tried out and didn't make it, and then somebody who gets injured afterwards. See where they at.
All right. So he said he believes it's mob mentality. I completely agree with you. As far as how you go, I in fact the video I said about the whole fake outrage ordeal.
Oh, yeah.
People were just fake outrage.
Oh man,
We are completely on
pretty
the
sure I shared that. I hope I did.
same ordeal with that one right there. Honestly, I'm with you with the whole understanding why people get mad about things, but like we talked about with fear, like we talked about with anger, even with sensuality, stuff can transfer. You see what I'm saying? If I get scared and start running, there's a good chance Phil might get scared and start running, or just run just to be safe. Just to be safe. You see what I'm saying?
And then when we get far enough from danger, feel like you're far enough. What was you running from?
Yeah, exactly. You see what I'm saying?
That?
You can watch those videos. They're all online too,
Yeah.
where people hit the corner running, and then like,
oh yeah, it'll be a
people
group
like-
of people just randomly walking, and then they all duck down, and they're all actors. They're in on it, and the person that's in the middle who don't know nothing, he look around, he duck down. What we ducking for? And they just walk
Exactly.
off. Or
So-
there's two of them. There's that one where they duck, and then there's one where they get around the person, they just take off running, he takes off. Then there's one where a person's walking, and they all come around the corner and just run at them,
Yeah.
and they start running for no reason,
yeah.
or they feel like they're being
There's
chased.
other ones too where they just dudes sitting back. There's like people posted in different areas, chilling, talking, whatever. And one dude's way back here. He'll start running, and then he'll go past somebody, and they be like, "Man, what the hell?" And like they'll start running, and then it's mob mentality. You don't know what the hell's going on. You know what I'm saying? And the ones overseas where like they walk in front of somebody's car and like they jump over something, like they pretend to jump over
Oh
something.
yeah, I've
And they
seen
get
that.
out and look, and there's nothing there.
or you'll see two people in the middle of the street, and the car's coming, and they act like they have a rope, and they act like they're tied into a pole on either side. The car will stop. They'll reach for it, look, kick at it.
Yeah, I mean, stuff transfers. I mean, so we know this. We know that things transfer. Personally,
Real quick, I'm sorry, this kind of been bothering me since you first said it. The black man having a better chance of getting struck by lightning than get shot by a cop. So let's just go past just 2016 till now. Not even the whole everything. 2016 till now. Hundreds have gotten shot and killed. Hundreds. Now, YouTube and its infinite storage capacity, you can look up anything from just about any year. I found some commercials from the 80s and 90s, well, from the 90s that I used to watch as a kid. So look up from 2016 till now, black men getting struck by lightning in the past 2 years, just 2 years. See how many you come up with, and post them, or what you call it, put the link in there. And I guarantee it will not be. It might be one. We don't play when it comes to weather. It starts sprinkling. We like, oh, time to go in. But when it came to getting shot, choked out, gun range, firing squad for no reason, killing your own house, that's happened. That's real. It exists. No matter what you type, no matter what you believe, I believe a black man has a better chance. I haven't heard that many people getting struck by lightning in my lifetime, even watching stories, looking on videos. But in my lifetime, there have been a lot of black people, men, women, children, playground, cap gun, shot, killed. Orange tip. Cap gun has an orange tip. Still gets shot and killed. I thought it was a real gun. As an adult, as a grown man, if you mistake a plastic, hollow cap gun for a real gun, then you got way more problems than killing that kid's blood on your hand.
Think about it like this. Cops have a better chance of getting killed by actual white people because there's more of them in this country than black people. So, like, to me, it's the fear that cops have of black people killing them and the, like, latent, just calm, cool, collective mindset they have with white people kind of shows, like, in 2016 when them 2 cops got killed. I believe that was in Texas, where some dude threatened 2 black guys because they were riding dirt bikes and 4-wheelers, and they were recording them popping wheelies or whatever, and this dude comes to the end of his drive to threaten them with a shotgun because he doesn't want them driving past his house. But he comes out there with a 4-wheeler of his own to threaten them with a shotgun and tell them, well, the thing was, it was recorded. You know what I'm saying? The conversation was recorded. They give it to the police. The police show up and tell him, you can't be threatening people's lives. We need to take you in. And then he was like, no, you don't. And then he reaches for him. He pulls his sidearm that he's legally has the right to own and shoots both those police. Then goes in the house and armors up with clips, vest, and a rifle, and lets loose on the oncoming cops until they gun him to where he surrenders. Basically, probably ran out of ammo.
Surrender.
He surrenders.
We reach for a wallet and get 80 bullets. The dude in the wheelchair.
He surrenders. And then he's in jail right now. Now.
No. Don't do that.
If we were going into history of how many shootouts have happened and killed cops with colored people versus white people, Albert, believe me, I'm in the middle of a book right now that has most of them documented. White people win.
By a long shot.
White people win. They really do.
The margin is so big.
It's so bad. Like, it's so bad that we shoot each other more.
Matter of fact, you know what? For black people or people of color killing cops versus white people, I think we're also the minority. I'm sorry. I couldn't.
We stay in that minority area.
Yeah. Minority Report. I want to report a minority. Oh, he's dead. Where's he at? We're going to get him. One less. And the thing about it is, even without overlooking all the stuff that your white brethren do as civilians, you still have a better chance of getting shot or killed by them than us. And we get killed, gunned down, unarmed. But to make matters worse, you disregard any real threat that they present, making yourself an open target.
True. Trilogy.
I've seen plenty of videos during the time where they were killing black people left and right, where white people had weapons coming towards cops and didn't get even tased.
Well, to be honest with you, I've talked about how the Democrats and that left side like using the whole narrative of black only beating up on white cops only beating up on black people narrative a lot. You know what I'm saying?
No,
they don't.
Abuse of power is abuse of power.
Right.
It's just that is due to fear. That's fear and abuse of power.
Right.
That's
they don't.
The problem.
They don't go into the trailer parks where they be beating up the white people, the poor white people.
Oh, I was watching Cops the other day. Dude.
They don't. Cops was like the only show where you begin to see when they actually show those.
It was PD Live.
PD Live.
PD Live.
Cops did it too. You would see this person's getting pulled over, had drugs, had a gun. It's a white person. This person get pulled over, he has drugs. He's a black person. That's like the one of the only shows where you start to see where it's like, damn, everyone does something wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like everyone does something wrong.
Oh yeah, leave it to the news and the media. Oh man, black people did it again.
Yeah.
No wonder that cops is always after them.
Yeah.
They make up 12% of the nation, but 80% of the jail. How? That doesn't even make sense.
So I personally, like, if anyone really want to make some money, if you come watch this and you really want to make some money, all you got to do is go get some video cameras and then hang around where poor white people look at, and you will find the same things that you find in the hood you will find in a trailer park. So the cops showing up, the cops showing up, beating somebody up who's drunk. You know, believe me, man. It doesn't.
I'm at my house though.
It don't take a lot of. It don't take a lot of training to get a police officer. That's why they really need to be trained. Anyway, we need to end this one because we need to talk. Because we need to talk about the other one, real quick.
No, let's go ahead and make it an hour. Even hour.
So this is our response to the Nike replies and comments that we got. Albert, you know I love you. You're my brother. Been with me for a long, long time.
Appreciate the feedback.
Mr. Goodrich.
You too.
Love you too,
Appreciate
man.
it.
Just let you know that
reevaluate some things.
We do read and we do look into things.
Yeah.
We normally debate with each other or
about stuff like this.
About stuff like
and
that.
It really, the only reason why it's this short is because it's on. Yeah, it's us two, and because we're trying to make it to where y'all actually watch it.
So I'm gonna be editing some
Yeah,
things.
edit multiple parts.
So I'm just saying,
if it was all of us,
bro,
all the bros, this would go on all.
This would be multiple videos. This would be a real podcast. Anyways, we're gonna get out of here, man, and so we can talk about this other subject. Anyways, your boy, I'm Nixon. Phil,
Peace.
we out.